Battlefield 5's single-player element is episodic. It's not a campaign, but rather a series of scripted vignettes meant to flash a light on relatively unknown aspects of World War II, such as the recruitment of convicts in Winston Churchill's Special Boat Squad, the role of female commandos in Norway's resistance to Nazi occupation, France's utilization and subsequent sweeping away of Senegalese colonial soldiers, and the harsh realities of Nazi fanaticism many German Wehrmacht officers faced during the fall of Berlin. Here you can see some of the vignettes. I'm going to choose My Country Calling, which is the intro to Battlefield 5. You choose a difficulty level and proceed from there. The game is, and I'd say EA is, and DICE is fairly cinematic. Not even fairly cinematic. Pretty sophisticated in their cinematic presentation of their games. In that sense, though, they, starting with, I'd say even maybe Battlefield 4, they sort of left behind strict single-player narratives that are meant to develop a character. That said, each of the 4 vignettes that we saw earlier in this video is focused on a singular character. They're just not developed overtly over the course of the game as a primary protagonist. They're simply meant to be a slice of different perspectives that you see regarding how EA and DICE want to present World War II. And here I think you get into a certain, or EA and DICE are getting into a certain cultural consciousness about video games that let people play at war, and maybe the idea that that's insensitive relative to the reality of war, whether that's an inherent contradiction or not. It's something that they're conscious of with Battlefield 5, and I think they're trying to make a statement about relative to their relationship to what they're presenting as a game, and also the subject matter of that game, and hopefully we'll get to that by the time we get to the end of this video, relative to the type of comment they're making to the player about playing these types of games as a sort of a way into thinking about warfare, the history of warfare and humanity. And here we have the overarching intro narrative beginning to give way to the player. That is, we're about to get our first actual control in the game. And this, again, it's just in the intro sequence. This isn't in one of the actual vignettes, so you don't really know who you are at this point. There's no real setup other than you're just a British soldier in Norway. And this is just the first experience you have early on in the intro of actually playing the game. What the intro does with each of these small little sections that you get to play through has nice segues between them, moving from geographical location to geographical location, but your control of the player is sort of only partial. That is, all these vignettes end with you basically dying. That is, you don't really have much control to affect the game or to win the game or to beat a level.
We fought everywhere, in every condition though, using weapons we had never dreamed of. But death is death, no matter where you are. And suffering is the same in every language.
So we move from Norway to Libya, we move from British soldier to German Wehrmacht tank commander. And again, it's going to follow the same pattern. You get a little bit of experience in gameplay, and part of this is functional. You get to play as a soldier, right? So you can learn those mechanics or refresh on those mechanics. You get to play in a tank as you're doing here and learn those mechanics. But again, each of these sections, as we'll see here in just a second, end with you dying. Like, you're not going to move forward.
Technology moved faster than you could think how to use it. Yours, theirs, it didn't matter. This war would prove that from ocean bed to mountaintop, the greatest killing machine is man.
So as the game again gives you control of a character, in this case a sniper, again, you have DICE and EA trying to say something about the type of power that they're giving you as in playing a war game and being able to put other human beings in your crosshairs and killing them without much discrimination. just as quickly as DICE gives you that agency to kill, it also takes it away from you by basically killing you. And this is the sequence, at least in the intro sections of the game, where it's trying to introduce World War II, the role in World War II had on the human beings taking part in it. It strips that agency away from you as soon as it gives it to you almost, and transitions you to another part of the war.
They found the commuters on the train, and they found the children in the schools.
And again, outside of the overriding point DICE and EA are trying to make about warfare and playing at warfare, and sort of the cautious approach they want you to take to thinking about war at the same time as you play it, these sections are still also functional to give you access to different portions of the game, and the mechanics that you have to deal with to play through them. Again, whether it's as an infantry soldier, or a sniper, or a tank commander, or in this case, somebody flying, which I am subsequently quite bad at.
Airmen, infantry, volunteers, conscripts, them and us. It didn't matter where the danger came from. The threat of death unified everyone. Victory meant staying alive.
This is the final sequence of the intro. And what we're going to find is DICE sort of ultimately, relative to the overriding point and cautionary approach it's taking to playing at warfare, it's going to make that statement at the end. And we'll see whether or not we think it gets a little thin red line-ish in its sort of approach. That is, it's making sort of this metacognitive, reflective commentary on warfare and what it means relative for humans to kill other humans. Using modern technology.
Unworthiest creation. What led it back to us? Does a hidden hand guide it? Birthing us in violence and blood? Ending us in fear? Alone?